This time on Rad Rat Video, we are picking a trick to delete from history. What trick is it going to be? Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding where I answer skateboarding questions, I play skateboarding video games, and I do everything that I can in the skateboarding world. Today we're answering some of your questions. First is from Jeff is Rad, who says, Yo Rat, I randomly looked down at my trucks and noticed that the top bushings were blown out on both sets. It struck me odd because I haven't noticed any difference in performance, and they feel just as they always have been for the last several months. My question is twofold. First, what causes bushings to blow out in the first place? And secondly, do I need to swap them out for new bushings even though I haven't noticed a difference in performance? Thanks for being rad, Jeff. Well, they blow out because they're squishy, and squishy stuff sometimes gets squished. I don't know how much more technical to get than that, because the second part is that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Like, if you want no bushings at all, you can do that. There are people who have no bushings, like Day One Song has been known to, like, you see him holding a trick, you know, he's holding his nose manual and his back truck's just flopping around because there's no bushings in it. You can do that if you want to do it. If you haven't even noticed, then why bother? You know, maybe hop on a board of someone else, your friend or someone at the skate park, and see, like, make sure that you really don't care. But if you don't care, you don't care. So why bother? Save yourself that $5. All right. Next question is from Eugenio, who says, hey, just wondering, do they re-release video parts from over the years? For example, Plan B virtual reality. Thrasher will sometimes release a part, but never the whole thing. And it's always going to be a little bit different. It's always difficult to figure out how to do that. So, like, if you wanted to do that, you would have to get a new license for the song or re-edit it without the music, which would be hard. You would have to find all of the original tapes of the clips that don't have, you know, because it's not like you can open up the project file and delete the song and save it back out. This is, if you're going back far enough, you'd have to find original tapes and capture all of those clips so you have them without the background. And you could change the song, which would mean re-editing the whole thing, or do it without any music, or you can pay the license to renew it and actually use it. But that's expensive, and it only goes for some time. So if you were to post, you might have to pay for like two years of this song. After 2 years, you have to pay it again. Well, when you first post something online, it gets a lot of attention. You know, it's the new re-released version of this video. It'll get some attention, but after 2 years, it might not be getting as much at all, and it might not make sense to pay that again to keep it up because of the, you know, like, all the copyright stuff is complicated. And that's if the song, the band who wrote the song or whoever owns the rights, if they don't mind, they might not want you to. Like, it's a problem. So when Thrasher does it, it's not super often, and they tend to do it with, like, the real classics that they know people are going to watch for a long time and it'll be worth it. Something else that they'll do is they'll have someone talk about it up front, and they'll say, oh, this is my favorite part because I was first getting into skateboarding and blah, 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 and they talk for a while. And I think the reason for that is to make more money off of it. So one thing about having a channel is the amount of time that people watch is how you, like, the amount of ads that can run in an ad are important, but how much time people watched is the most important. Because you can get credit for an ad that they just watched if the video that they watched it on was short, but then they watched a lot of yours but didn't reach an ad yet. You'll still get, it's complicated, but you always want to make a video as long as possible. I try not to be annoying. I try to just pick a good number of questions and not stretch. But if a video part is the amount of time it is, you might want to stretch it out and have someone talk for a while. That's why sometimes you'll see skits in, like, if you watch a song, you look up that song and they'll just stop for a while and just like some stuff will happen. And then there'll be like a long after credits, type of stuff. They're just trying to extend that watch time. So anyway, that's a little behind the scenes on what it's like to upload things here. But yeah, they do re-release stuff sometimes. Next question is from Dante, who says, since you're someone that does freestyle skating, I want to start learning some freestyle tricks. Is it necessary to buy a freestyle board, or is it fine to do on a normal street deck? If I should get a freestyle board, what is a good place to buy one? Since you're a big fan of Mullen, and so am I, you should know he has a book about his life called The Mutt, How to Skateboard and Not Kill Yourself. It's a very interesting read. I do know about his book, but I haven't read it because I'm worried that it's not going to be good. Like, I don't know why. It's kind of like, I like him so much that if there's something in his book that I really dislike, it would suck. It's like if you're a big fan of like a book series or something like that, and they're going to make it into a TV show, or there's going to be like a sequel of something that you like much later, you're a little bit of trepidation about if it's going to be good, then great, but if it's bad, it's going to hurt, and I kind of feel like that about his book. Like, if it's not really good, it's going to suck for me, I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, you can buy, I'll put up some names of freestyle companies right now, but you don't need to. The biggest thing that I will tell you, you'll have a lot of trouble with a street board doing Caspers because the tails are too steep, so like your foot will land and slide. You don't want your foot to be on the ground for a Casper. You want it to be balanced up here. Maybe the edge of your foot touches, but no weight on it. But on a street board, it's almost impossible to do that without putting grip tape on it. And even then, and the other thing you will want to do is have trucks be a little bit smaller than you would normally do, because you want the board to like fall this way slightly and kind of lock down. If on a standard street board, if the trucks are about the same size or even slightly bigger, the board is like really floppy and it's hard to like flip out and stuff like that. That's the only thing you'll have trouble with on a normal street board. If you get really, really into it, I would consider it, but there's no reason to hold back to just trying to learn some basics on your normal street board that you already have. All right. The last question is from Big Jim, who says, nowadays, kids and adults alike will be learning new tricks and trying new things that don't add any value to my life. Which trick, you must pick one, would you remove from the history of skating? No one has ever done it, heard of it, and you get to do whatever you want with your current knowledge of said trick. Choose wisely. Rad, bad, mad, sad rat. Okay. So I imagine that you are picturing a trick that you hate, and you want it to just be gone. But I want to take a different spin at it. I think it would be much more interesting to delete the pop shove it and just see what happens. Because deleting the shove it wouldn't necessarily remove knowledge of inward heel flips or hard flips or big spins even, potentially. I don't know if a big spin would technically exist still or not. I'm not sure. But I just delete the pop shove it and just see what happens. Of course, I would be at the skate park with a camera and I would be about to film a bunch of pop shove it's the second I did it, because I think that trick would get reinvented immediately, because someone would land with their board backward from a inward heel flip or whatever. And they'd be like, wait a minute, can I just switch my board back around by doing this? And they would just instantly do it. But if I was first, I could somehow, in the year 2022, invent an extremely basic skateboard trick. And I think that'd be kind of interesting. And I wouldn't necessarily call it the pop shove it either. It might be the rad spin or something like that. Why not? I was the first one to do it. There's documented proof. This is the first ever. You will never find one in history. Watch anything that has ever come out. Here's mine on Instagram. Time stamped. First ever rad spin. I just did it. and I'm going to come up with a bunch of different ways to do it. I'm going to do it at different spots. I'm going to do it in every stance. It's going to blow people's minds that no one had ever thought of it. I just thought that would be kind of a chaotic way to handle it. Like if I had that power to just delete a trick, that would be the most fun. To just sit back and watch. I think it would ruin skateboarding though, theoretically. Like how it's so foundational and so basic. How many things have been built on top of that? If the memory of Shoutout is gone from everybody on Earth, would that take all of the other tricks away with it? Like, would there be no tray flips now? Because the concept of doing a Shoutout never occurred to anybody throughout all of history? Maybe. And if so, does that mean that skateboarding itself wouldn't really be as popular? You know, like if there's so many tricks missing from skateboarding, would it have caught on as much? Would it have brought in as many people who saw a cool clip and were excited to try it? Maybe. Like it could destroy skateboarding. But on the other hand, I would be a very important inventor of a trick. So that's my kind of dumb answer. My real answer would be landing anything in a no comply. I hate it. I've talked about it before. You see it sometimes where, I mean, the first trick doesn't even have to be a foot plant at all. You could just do like a pop shove it and land with one foot on the ground and just pop the board again, and then like pop the board again, and then eventually you just jump back and land on it. I don't know who first started doing that, but I've hated it since I first saw it. If that concept just disappeared, I think the world would be a little bit better. It's a small thing. It wouldn't make that big of a difference because it was only popular for a little while. But I would sleep better at night not having that, not having the scars of having seen that. So for my health, I would do that. For chaos and fun, it would be a pop shove it. That's it for now. If you have questions, go to radratvideo.com and type it in to the homepage, and that form will send me an email. If you want to support the channel, you can join on YouTube. You can sponsor on Patreon. You can subscribe. You can tell your friends. And that's all. Thanks for hanging out.